Today will be lesson 20 in instructional videos for Master Kuo Lien Ying's original Guang Ping Taiji form. And today we're going to be covering technically two moves, single whip drop down, which I believe in other styles might be called snake creeping down. And then we'll be covering golden cock stands on one leg. And the importance of this move is that it's going to be the transitional move between the last section that we learned, the diagonal section, and the second repeat section, and that'll take you all the way to about 3/4 of the way through the form. So we're going to mostly concentrate on the details of uh, dropping down and golden cock stands on one leg. It's a fairly simple move, but there's little details you have to pay attention to in the hand positioning. And then also I'll just kind of show you where it is within the repeat section and the diagonal section so that you can kind of do that as a linking move. First I'll demonstrate the move within the sequence, and then I'll go back and talk about the details this way. So we'll do diagonal single whip, partitioning the wild horse's mane. Second diagonal single whip. Fair lady works at shadows. Step up, grasp bird's tail. Single whip, wave hand like clouds. Single whip. Okay, so this is where the lesson will begin. This will be single whip, drop down, and then transition to golden cock stands on one leg. And then into repulse monkey. This will be the beginning of the repeat section. Slow palm, slanting flying. Step up, raise right hand, turn, raise left hand, fly pulling back, and then fan through arm. So that was going from the diagonal section and then into golden cock stands on one leg, the kind of transitional move between that and then the repeat section. And the repeat section again ends on fan through the arm. So that'll be where that move is in this sequential order. So now I'm going to cover the details of the two moves, single whip drop down and golden cock stands on one leg. And we'll kind of break it down for you so you can kind of understand all the little details. First, I'm going to do it in the direction that is normally performed, and then I'll face the camera and do it facing the camera so you can kind of see the details a little more clearly. At the end of wave hand like clouds, you're going to do the second single whip. In single whip drop down, as you drop down, this hand turns into fingers forward position And also, because you're in the horse here, you might need to kind of step out a little bit with the left foot in order to get a wider stance for dropping down. As you come up, you're going to want to like get your weight over the left leg as you come up into raising into this position here. So again, let me do it one more time in this direction. Single whip and then drop down. Only thing, this hand stays in the same position, level with the shoulder, and this hand just faces forward as you drop down. Ideally, try to keep your torso erect instead of like bending over like this. Again, a lot of it's going to depend on your flexibility. Also, if you're older and you have difficulty dropping down into the deep drop falling stance, then you can just go to this position here and transition up into golden cock stance on one leg in this position here. We'll cover this in more in detail. So now I'll face the camera this way. So from single whip, dropping down again, because your horse stance, depending on how wide you go into your horse stance, normally if you just turn this foot and try to drop down, you don't really have enough space because you need to, I think I discussed this in more in the Shaolin. The drop down stance is more inherent in the Shaolin form, and many students would have practiced Shaolin before they did Tai Chi, so this the falling stance or drop down stance would have been more natural for them. For a practitioner that just entered into Tai Chi without doing the Shaolin first, this is the only second time that you're doing this stance. Chop opponent with fists, you drop down like that, but we didn't really cover going down into that stance too much. Again, in the warm-up video, I showed how to exercise for this stance. But again, so from the single whip, you're going to have to actually step out in order to get that wider stance to keep your torso more erect here. And then the hard part here is to transition with your weight over the left leg before you come up to the vertical stance so that you have the right balance. So that's the kind of the tricky part about this transition. It's actually fairly, I find for myself, I find it fairly difficult transition because you're going from that deep stance into that vertical erect single leg stance. So something that you're going to have to work with. Even after all these years, I tend to lose my balance a little bit sometimes. So from the single whip, again, fingers point forward as you drop down. And then as you come forward, again, I want to emphasize that as you come forward, you need to get your weight over this left leg as you come up into this vertical stance. Again, I'm going to do this transitional change from single whip drop down to golden cock stance on one leg. Fixing the camera because you'll be able to better see the details. I'm going to explain the hand position now as we perform this move. So from single whip, again dropping down, fingers pointed forward, and at this point, as you come forward, the left hand drops down by your hip here, like that. And the right hand, as you transition forward into the one-legged pose, comes up along your hip and then slides along the knee into a vertical position ready to push, like that. So I think in order to learn this, if you work on this transition, which I think is the hardest part of the lesson today, we'll be working on that drop down position into that vertical stance. So again, from here, drop down and then come forward, making sure that your weight is over your left foot. Kind of slide your foot at this point. In the beginning, You don't have to like just step into it. You can just kind of slide till you get to the balance position, I think. So you could practice the hand position. And at this point, as soon as your leg is raising up, the left hand drops down. Also, the left hand is palm down, like this. So, like the other lessons, if you just practice the hand movement, goes up, and then going cock stands on one leg as you kick, goes out, and then it drops down, and then the other one comes down, and then kick. Also, there's a detail that's really important in this move. Again, having to break this up is kind of difficult. But as the very first one, when you drop down and you come up, this left palm will be facing down as you come up. You perform golden cock stands on one leg. After you do the next step and you come forward, the palm, receding palm, turns palm up. So again, let me do it in this direction. Here, drop down, palm down as you come up for the first golden cock stands on one leg. As you come down, and then you come up with the left palm up, sliding along your foot. The right palm now turns upward as you come up to this side. And then every move after that in golden cock stands on one leg, the hand turns over and comes up like that. I hope that's clear. Only in the very first one, when you drop down, and the very first right side, left palm is facing down. It's an important detail that a lot of people miss. And then after that, when you come up, then the hand comes back, the palm is up. The direction of the palm is a little bit tricky in this one move. That's the only very difficult part, and also the balance and standing on one leg. So, okay, this time I'll do it facing the camera here. You're gonna drop down, and as you come up, left palm is facing down, come up here. Then you will cover this movement in the kick forward, okay? So from this position here, notice the bottom of the foot is flat, level. It's not pointing down, level. Get your knee up as high as you can. Right hand is in front of the shoulder, like that. And the left is right by your hip joint. Here. And then you're going to extend your foot out like a thrust kick forward with the toe back as you do the extension, like that. And then drop the foot down as you step forward, ready for the next golden cock stands on one leg on the left side. Again, on this very first one, you got to turn your palm over as you come up, weight on the right foot, and then come up into golden cock stance on one leg stance on this side. Then this is in front of your shoulder, and the right is down by your hip. And then this one would extend out. Then you sit down, and then rock forward to get into your balance, and then come up. Extend, drop down, rock your weight forward, come up into the one-legged golden cock stance and one-leg stance, and then extend. At the very end, you're going to end on the left side, then you drop down. And here's where you go into repulse monkey. Come up, and then this left palm stays down for the very first one. And then after that, repulse monkey transitions like you learned before. So although it looks like a pretty simple transitional move, all the details are very um, unique. And you need to remember the hand position is the most important thing. And again, the difficulty in presenting this on video is because the direction that would be turned, I have to keep going back and forth, turning each way. I want to kind of point out one more thing is in the initial repeat, it comes after parry, tiger to mountain, and parry and punch. And then as you come up, remember this right hand turns down. So, so in the very first repulse monkey, the right palm is down. Again, up. Carry tiger to mountain, parry and punch. And then when you sit back for repulse monkey, that right palm was down. And then after that, the palm is facing up. In the same way, when you come up to the last golden cock stands on one leg, as you come down, as you do the first repulse monkey, that palm is down. And after that, in the repulse monkey, the palm is up. So you get to slow palm. So whether the palm is up or down is kind of a critical detail in this little section. So one more time, I'll do it in the direction that we were normally facing. And let's see. Also, one more note is that this golden cock stands on one leg is one of the movements where you can perform as many as you want to fill the space. You're always going to end on the left side with the standing on the right leg for the drop down into repulse monkey. So it's going to be 2 or 4 or 6. And also, since it's linked to the single whip, wave hand like clouds, single whip, that last single whip should happen no further than halfway in the area so that you have room to perform golden cock stands on one leg. If you get all the way to the end and you're not going to have any room to do golden cock stands on one leg, then you just can do 1 or 2. So you have to kind of plan ahead. So obviously, when you do the grass bird's tail, you want to be the furthest over to the right that you can in their space. That way, when you do wave hand like clouds, if I just want to do 1, so I have more space to practice golden cock stands on one leg, then I have more room to do golden cock stands on one leg. And then you have to do as many repulse monkey to get you back to center for that repeat section. So the spacing is going to be important in this learning this new move as well. Okay, I'm going to do it facing going in this direction so you can get a better view of the movement, and I'll describe it as I go. From the last single whip, drop down, left fingers are pointed forward, wide, deep stance. Okay, as you come forward, you're going to like get your weight over the left leg. If you stay low, rather than just being back like this, it's pretty important so your weight will be over the foot. As you come up with the right knee into golden cock stands on one leg, the right hand is going to slide up along the knee and come to the vertical as you come into this position here. That. So I do a little bit faster and smoother. Single whip, drop down. Turn that left foot in 90 degrees. Come up, gain your balance, and then up into this position here. From here, when you extend your foot, get your knee up high. This foot is flat, level, and then the toe is back as you thrust out. Here. From the extended position, drop down, walking. And then from here, remember now to turn this palm over as you come up onto the right stance, and then coming up into the high position here. Keep the foot flat, thrust out, drop down, rock forward into the right side. Thrust out, drop down, rock forward into this left side. You end on the left side, left palm forward. Thrust out one more time, drop down, and now you're going to transition back into repulse monkey. Come up, keep the left palm down, step back, remember cliff behind you, step back with a toe, and then transition your weight. Come up, turn both palms, step back, come up, step, turn both palms, and again you end up on right palm forward for the turn into slow palm slanting flying. Okay, let's do it one more time, and I do a little bit faster and smoother. Trying to describe it as you're doing it, having to explain all the details kind of breaks up the rhythm. Single whip, drop down, come up, section. One more detail though, is that as you're coming up from this transition into, I told you to stay low so you get your weight. So as you come up high and kick, and then you're going to drop down low again for a step forward. So each time that you come up, there's like the rise, and then drop down, rising up into very erect position. So this is one time where instead of trying to maintain an even level, you're dropping down into the transition and into the rise, golden cock stands on one leg, then the forward extension and drop down each of those steps. Okay, I'm going to show you an exercise that you could practice right in your own room or house without stepping in repulse monkey. But you're basically practicing the balance and the raising of the knee and the thrust kick and the hands uh, while practicing the station. I call it the stationary golden cock stands on one leg. So again, you basically it's just going to be the golden cock stands on one leg, practicing without stepping forward. So start off with this position here, and then you're going to just do the thrust and the hand and the kick, and then step down, and then remember to turn this hand. So it's going to look like this, just stepping, and what you're practicing is kind of the transition into the rise and the thrust, and then hand motion. And then each time I'm turning that palm back up. So it's kind of the heart of the motion. And I'm dropping down a little bit as I would as we're doing the stepping. So I'm coming up, press, turn, and so you can practice this right in your own room. Let me do it a side view. So come up, press, change. This will help you on your balance. So that's an exercise you could just practice in your room. And again, in practicing the form, uh, I think that it's really important that you develop a learning technique where you can take the separate elements of the moves rather than the traditional idea of going from the beginning of the form, practicing, and then only getting to where you are, and then waiting for the next move. Because then you're only practicing the elements of that particular move a few times. Whereas if you practice just like I'm doing here, the core of the movement over and over, and I can practice it anytime through the day without warming up. I'm not having to drop into that deep stance to do the transition. You can practice that separately as well. Then you're going to really build that movement into your body much more than if you only like reserve it for the time that you go out and you do your set ideal normal practice time. So having these little exercises to do separately is really help improve your Tai Chi form greatly. Maybe it's helpful if I perform the entire diagonal section and then the repeat section, then the transitional move that we're learning today, golden cock stands on one leg, and then the repeat section again, so you can see how it all looks. So the diagonal section starts from fan to the arm into green dragon, dropping water, into single whip, first single whip, wave hand like clouds section, into single whip, high pat on horse, step up, separation of the right foot, separation of the left foot, turn, wind blowing lotus leaf, finger block up with punch, turn, double jumping scissors kick, into parry and punch, step back, kick with left foot, turn, kick with right sole, into parry and punch, parry close up, parry tiger to mountain, step up, chop opponent with fists, diagonal single whip, partition the wild horse's mane, into the second diagonal whip, fair lady works the shadows, step up into grass bird tail, single whip, wave hand like clouds, into single whip, drop down. Golden cock stands on one leg. Drop down, repulse monkey. This is repeat section. Bow, palm, slanting, flying. Raise right hand, turn. Raise left hand, fly, pulling back. And then fan through the arm. And this will be the up to where we are. And then after that will be the ending section. Okay, I hope that shows clearly how the moves that we learned today in the repeat section enter into the form. Thank you.